people wonderfully well paid. There are people that work far harder for far less. I recognize how lucky I am. So I'm like, if I need to cry today and tomorrow and the next 50 days in a row, I'll do so. Yes, it's difficult, but I think your question, I'm probably the worst person to ask that, because I think I have like a really healthy outlook on how I achieve my emotions on set.
Yeah.
But I have worked with people that shut their bedroom door and just dive into the character and are pouring through the script every night and are in character all the time. And I admire them. I don't necessarily think it's the healthiest way to go about it. But yeah, I've always been really strict on myself to leave my work at work. Obviously, I come home and read the script and do all of my prep work, but I'm leaving the character at work because it's too much, especially when you're playing a character like Danny from The Crowded Room. Like, you can't bring that into your personal life. It's tough.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but I'm actually glad I asked it to you either way, because what I'm actually hearing is you did it early on and you saw it wasn't healthy.
Sure.
And so you actually found another way.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting because a lot of people may not have found another way, or that is their way and that is their method.
Mm-hmm.
And so it actually is interesting hearing it from your perspective, because you're actually saying, yeah, I could have gone down that road.
Sure.
But I could see the dangers with it.
Right.
And obviously it depends on the roles too. Sorry, you were going to say
No,
something.
it's my acting coach. Ben Perkins was my acting coach on my first film. And that film's really, really emotionally intense. And we started off by doing things like, can you imagine, your mum passing, or can you imagine things like that? And I would cry instantly.
Yeah.
And he was the one that actually recognized at a point, this is too much for this young kid to kind of take. So he devised these exercises where him and I could kind of have these fake arguments, where I was, as a 12-year-old, oh, maybe I was older than that, 13-year-old, could recognize that they were exercises, and I would allow the emotion to kind of come from these kind of acting techniques, let's call it. So it was actually Ben that was the one that switched my mindset. I can't take credit for that.
Yeah.
So you live in LA?
Yeah. So I moved to LA 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I moved to the States 7 years ago. So I was in New York for the first two.
Whereabouts in New York were you?
I was on 23rd Street near Flatiron.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
So yeah, it was good in Manhattan, and moved with my wife. We've been married for 7 years,
Amazing.
together for 10.
Fantastic.
And it's just been really interesting, mate. It's like, did you ever end up moving? Did you ever live in LA or at all, or in the US at all, or have you always been in London?
Sort of what we were talking about earlier.